Hi there, welcome to the A.D.K Rock and Metal Network. My name is Kirk and I am joined by two musicians from what I would probably say is my favorite contemporary metal band. I'm talking about Dawn of Ouroboros, and joining us, Tony Thomas, guitar player, main songwriter, Chelsea
Oh,
Murphy, vocalist and lyricist. I am right on that, aren't I, Chelsea? You do write the
Mhm.
lyrics.
Yes,
Excellent.
I do. Yes.
Yeah, so this is episode 4 of Tales from the Underground, and I've been so excited about this. I'm just going to get straight into it, but I'm actually going to start on a more personal level. Are you still living in Seattle? Because I think you're originally Californians, aren't you?
Yes, yeah. The two of us are.
And was that, just remind me, Tony, you're a scientist, aren't you, by trade or by learning?
yeah. I have a degree in molecular biology, and I've been working in like the biotech research field for almost 10 years, doing standard research stuff involved with immunotherapy, and the most recent stuff I would do would be with vaccine research.
Oh, okay.
So, seen on mRNA vaccines, and I'm like a laboratory worker, so I'm not like coming up with new ideas or anything. But yeah, that vaccines is the most recent type of work I've been doing in the field.
Chelsea, what was the lifestyle change like for you moving from, is it San Francisco you're from?
Yeah, San Francisco
Yeah.
Bay Area. So,
Oh, oh, yes, you've
yeah,
left them.
I've lived all over the San Francisco Bay Area, so it's hard to say what town I'm really from. But yeah, the shock from moving from there to Seattle, I think if I were to do it again, I wouldn't do it in winter, first of all. Second, but
Yeah.
yeah, but the summers here are like the most gorgeous thing I've ever experienced in my whole life, and the springs as well. It's just otherworldly, like peak blooms, and just the water is gorgeous. Everybody's happy outside and getting in the hikes and the water of kayaking and whatever. It's just a lot of activities to do outdoors. If you love the outdoors, you'll love Washington. So
Isn't it? See, over here, there's a perception that grunge music just reflected Seattle as this backwater with shit weather, and it was miserable, and the music reflected that. But you're saying that you have great summers there, spectacular summers.
oh yeah, the summers are spectacular, but yeah, the winters are long, and there's a lot of rain and gray skies is really what I think people get down about. Is the rain is like kind of a drizzle here and there, and then it's just kind of consistent, like on and off. But it's the gray skies that really gets people, because you don't see, like, the sun for a while. It goes away for many months, and you'll get little glimpses of it, and everyone runs outside, give me the vitamin D. But And yeah. just looking it up, it sounds like, for a reference, London is more consistently wet and cold year round than
Oh
Seattle
yeah, it
is.
is. Yeah, I mean it's even worse in Scotland and Northern Ireland.
Yeah.
That I imagine. I've not lived in Glasgow or Edinburgh or the Highlands. I've never even visited Scotland, but I imagine a winter there is harsh. Yeah. And it rains a lot where I'm originally from in the northwest of England, like near Manchester way. So where are you guys? Are you still rehearsing with the other band members in San Francisco? Where do you meet as a halfway point to rehearse your
We're
music?
kind of we're kind of more spread out now. We've had a few lineup changes. We've had members that were, I guess, doing more than they had originally anticipated, so they decided to kind of step back. And then some other member that had a you know I'll say life progression, had married and children, and 100% fantastic for them. But we've had some changes, so we're kind of spread out across the country now. So like a lot of our in-person rehearsals occur like right before we go on tour, and we just kind of have a trust between everybody that like you're going to be ready when we meet up for us to go play live, and then we can all just get together, work out some small details, and be ready.
Yeah, that's I suppose it's I imagine quite a lot of bands do that now, don't they? And do you know what I admire with saying with you guys? You don't think anything of just getting on a plane and going to another state and just meeting up with the band and doing that for a week before the tour. For a person from England, that is so anathema to me. Can't
Oh, really?
imagine anyone, even thinking, oh, I'm going to go to Aberdeen in Scotland and go and meet up with two of the other band members and we'll rehearse there. It's just, I just like the can-do attitude. But can you tell us then what's going on with the drummer situation? So when, during the
Yeah.
writing and recording of this album, did Ron Bertrand announce his intention to leave the group?
Right, pretty much right before we were going to record the album. So he did record the album, and so but I guess that's just his final contribution to the band was to write and record for this album, and then we already had our new drummer who's been performing with us live, Chris Strapoli,
Yeah.
uh, already kind of lined up in at that point as well. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense for him to be. I know his band. Is it? Do you pronounce it? Is it Tomorum? Tomorum?
Yes.
Tomorum?
I mess it up too,
Tom.
and I know the very
Tomorum, is it? Is that?
Tomarum or I mess it up. Chelsea, you do it.
You can go Tomarum or Tomarum. I don't know.
I like the
I say
wording.
Tomarum, but I think it's actually Tomarum.
think
Yeah,
it's
that
Tom.
I like. Yeah, I'm going to go with that. Yeah, because I would say they're a similar feel, progressive black metal, aren't they, as well? I liked their last album. Yeah,
Yeah, they lean more heavily into like a more black, tradition, like obvious black metal kind of overall structure. But
yeah,
yeah, we do fall in a similar realm.
yeah, 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 definitely. Yeah. So you've just wrapped up a 9-day tour, then, haven't you? Did it finish on the
Hmm.
16th of March in Seattle?
It did.
Is there ever a feeling, right? Excuse the cynicism. Is there ever a feeling where you're like, okay, let's go and lose some money. We've got to go on tour. Is it really, is it ever that bad?
Uh,
No, I would say no. Tony, you say your piece, but
um, we've been working really hard to build the band over since we kind of put our first album out in 2020, and then we first started playing live in the fall of uh, like September 2021, and there's been consistent growth each time we've gone out. So we kind of learned from the data from the tour we did, like okay, this is kind of how much investment money we need to put in before we do the next one, and we can expect based on our previous data that we'll make our money back and potentially profit. And thankfully, that's been improving steadily each time we go out. So we're definitely in the realm of where I say we make money when we go out on the road. Um, and yeah, to where like the past data is not always predictive on how much we really need to prepare. Like I would say this last one we did was it was only our second headlining tour, but it went really well from my perspective. It was very exciting.
Yeah, Chelsea, what were your highlights from this recent 9-day tour?
honestly, we have a lot of really dedicated fans at this point that we've been so lucky to have, support us. We had somebody train in from Chicago all the way to San Francisco to see us. I had like younger crowds. Like there was an all-age show that we played, and there was like 16-year-olds in the crowd singing the lyrics with me to Bioluminescence, which is like what the hell? Like, we've
Yeah.
definitely grown more than I realized. At that moment, it was like, wow, this is too much. And, seeing the excitement and the young people to talk with me and to hang out, I think that was really important because it's the future of metal, right?
Yeah.
And to be part of, what's influencing them to like listen still and like, come and be part of the metal community and feel like safe and welcomed, like that's to me that's like everything. And then I even got like a little emotional because it was like so important to me to see those types of things, and it was really cool to see that we've grown into that.
Yeah, do you know, you just said that, didn't you? The future of metal and seeing younger people. And from what I've observed, there are certain bands now that the current generation have adopted, certainly Knocked Loose, who I think are great. I've liked them for the last 5 years. And then that band Code Orange is just when you see them and the fans, it's like they have thought, oh, this is our music. And it's good to see that. And what you're saying is you're starting to see that as well. And
Mhm.
yeah, it's if you think about it, I mean, I've said this so many times with Dawn of Ouroboros that there's only two bands that have successfully fused the black metal and the shoegaze, and you like the other band, Constellation, don't you? And I do.
I love them.
Exactly. But I think you are the most successful because especially with the new album, when I heard the title track, I was shocked by just how heavy it was. I was like, fucking hell, this is like strapping young lad standard heavy, you know. It's like no
Well,
compromise. And then the next section, really dreamy, you know, you feel like you're walking through a meadow full of daisies. It's just so difficult to do, yet you've done it successfully again on this record, which I've got to admit, I came into with a bit of trepidation because I loved
oh
Velvet
yeah,
Incandescent so much. Sometimes you're like, oh, you know, I was like, I'm not going to listen to it, even the singles, until the album comes out because I didn't want anything, have
yeah,
any expectation. You know, I didn't want anything to be there before I listened to it. And what I'd like to say here, though, is if you can answer this, is because your last album was so good, what did you see things that you must do differently for this record to distinguish it from the last one?
I think for us, we've always used the mindset of we need to write what we feel like writing, not write for a specific reason. So I think keeping that in mind as time has gone on and we've gotten more stakeholders on the line in terms of, prosthetic and our booking agent and, just various people investing in like us creating more music, I feel more of a pressure at times to kind of conform in a way and just always slapping myself on the wrist and pushing myself back into no, I'm here because I'm creating art that I create and we create, and like that's what we're getting known for, and just trying to stay true to your art I think is the biggest sentiment we use when going in to write an album.
Yeah, no, you're right. Because to what extent did you just mentioned it there? To what extent did you feel the level of expectation had risen for bioluminescence?
Yeah, I felt a substantial more pressure on like I just felt like the third album is really an important album for all bands because it seems like the third and the fourth album tend to be like it determines the future of a band, right? Also for the members, it's a lot of work to do this album creation and touring and a lot of sacrifice. And if we're not steadily growing and progressing and gaining more steam, then people start to feel like, well, what are we doing here, right? So I think that's also another pressure point as well, is like making sure that what we're doing is impactful enough to carry us to the next level with each release.
Yeah, I mean, Tony, when we corresponded, this would have been September. Remember you saying you would like working 60-hour weeks, and my thought was like, I'm doing 55 hours. Damn it, I'm not doing as many. But
I
both of you,
was.
how do you balance full-time work and careers with Dawn of Ouroboros?
I haven't
I
taken a vacation in 5 years outside of touring.
There's the
So
answer then, yeah.
for me, it's been 2017 was the last like vacation I had. Um, yeah, but yeah, I mean, I don't have many other hobbies or like personal interests outside of doing music, so it's just kind of where my free time goes. Is just doing that. So that's
Your
just
annual leave is built around when you're doing a tour then, isn't it?
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you may know we're it's very restrictive here on the amount of leave that we get in this country. So we have to make it count.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. One of the perceptions we have over here is that the United States, like Japan, you don't really take up the allocated annual leave. It's almost seen as if, am I right here? In some sectors, it's seen as if you're not taking the job seriously, you're not putting in
Yes.
the effort if you use up all your annual leave.
Yeah. And even when you're on leave, like you log in and you check on things, sometimes you take meetings, like it's just you can't get away. The American working ethic is it's interesting. It's a bit toxic at times.
Have you seen the Netflix? Sorry, yeah, you know, if you work for Netflix, I was reading some of their policies, right? Expenses. there is no limit. They basically say just do what you think's best for Netflix. There is no annual leave minimum. It's like just take holiday when you want, but no one takes it because their
Yeah.
assumption is you've got to demonstrate your loyalty and put the hours in. So even though it says, oh, just take holidays when you want, I bet people are just not doing it. They're like, okay.
Yeah, I think they're trying to keep a roof over their head with their family and everything, and their careers on a good trajectory. So, yeah, a lot of people don't take leave, or when they do, it's like they're so burnt out by the time they finally do. It's like, yeah, it's kind of sad. It's a little bit sad.
See, you've got Dawn of Ouroboros, though, haven't you? All those, you just said burnout, all those emotions, frustrations, but also a quest for beauty.
Yeah,
You've
absolutely.
got your therapy, haven't you?
Yeah, exactly. No, I'm very lucky and fortunate. Like I look around sometimes when I'm, working in like tech, and it's like for some people this is like the whole pie, right? This is like everything that they've ever wanted, and this is what they work for. And I'm just like, I'm so happy that I also have like my passion in music, because I feel it feels so hollow just being like, oh, working for this company that I didn't create is like everything I ever wanted. I mean, for some people it works. That's great. But I'm just fortunate that I have an outlet and I have a passion outside of it to keep me like in good spirits. Because it's hard.
Let's imagine Google headhunted you or an opportunity came up to work at their headquarters. You know that would be like 60 hours a week, but the benefits are incredible. This is probably
I,
the strangest question you're going to get, but if you had to sacrifice Dawn of Ouroboros to take up that career opportunity,
I mean, I
what
already
tough is
work
it?
at one of the big tech giants right now,
Oh,
actually.
okay.
But yeah, so I already work at the headquarters of one of them. And
Right.
so there's a lot of times where I am running on E, where I'm trying to straddle both worlds. And I just burned myself out doing it, but I wouldn't have it any other way because I refuse to give up Dawn of
Yeah.
Ouroboros. It's too important to me.
Yeah, and that comes through in the music. Sorry for asking that question.
No,
It
no,
just
no
came to me
worries at
then. I was
all.
like, let's present this as a choice. But yeah, it's I just that's what I like about the band. That's probably why you are my favorite contemporary band as well. Not just the music. I think that comes across that it is any free time is Dawn of Ouroboros, Dawn of Ouroboros, get on the next tour. You toured with Fallujah, Persephone, you've got the t-shirt on there, haven't you, Tony? Vulvodynia. And then 2023, did you spot, was it Acid Bath? Who else? There's some good names, isn't there? That
Uh,
you've got on the
yeah, we went out with Ashbringer.
Bringer
Um,
and Fires in
and
the Distance
yeah,
was
yes.
in the second half of the year.
yeah. And that's it. And you've just done your second ever headlining tour. You've got your 9 dates in there. I mean, I think musically, what's so intriguing to me about Dawn of Ouroboros, in the review I did for Scream Blast Repeat. So when I'm writing a review, sometimes a sentence will come to me, and I was on the train from London to Northwest England, and I was listening to track number two, and it just came out as like strawberry picnic in a post-apocalyptic wasteland. As a writer, you get these moments. You're like,
Yeah.
okay, I've got to write this down. That's going in the review. But I'm going to turn it on its head. What reviews have you read that have presented a perspective or description that completely baffled you when someone's listened to your music?
For I read every review, good or bad. Thankfully, the vast majority are good, so that feels nice. But I think that when it baffles me is when they try to write about why, why we're doing what we're doing. Like they'll like oh, they're trying to just do something so they can find something that appeals to everybody or something like that with the variety and the sounds that we do. When really we're just like not even thinking about it. I'm starting with the range. I'm just playing guitar and it's just whatever. But yeah, I guess just generally when they try to proclaim what our mindset must be that usually is very confusing to me.
Yeah, it
Um,
must be strange actually, because
yeah,
in no other walk of life would say you're an accountant.
Yeah,
You're not really going to start a conversation with you saying, "Oh, I can see that you joined this firm because you want
yeah,
to get on the property ladder by age 30 and marry." So, it is a bit strange, isn't it? And I do it as a review.
yeah.
It's subjective, isn't it? But
I mean, uh, as far as putting music and comparing it to other art forms, it's obviously due to the music industry and how that's how everybody, including ourselves, have been exposed to music for our entire lives. Is that it's been, I guess, commodified. So people kind of, in general, view it as if how they would view a movie, like how a movie was created. Like, oh, this, they're making this movie for this demographic or something because it'll appeal to this type of person. And I don't think people are thinking about that. I would say like a visual artist, like, oh, they're doing abstract expressionism for the abstract expressionist fans or anything along those lines. But I would guess that our approach is to just create what we're able to do intuitively. Uh, how we and this is just what it sounds like.
so was that a veiled criticism in that review? Were they saying you're trying to appeal to everyone? Is that what
Yeah,
came across?
yeah, I think so.
I would say so. Just because, we literally pride ourselves on not doing that. Like we're just like we just do what we think is right, what feels right when we're writing music, and it just kind of feels like, oh, that was really off base because that's absolutely not what we're doing. We're not trying to write for anyone but ourselves, and hopefully some people like it, and if not, that's okay.
Yeah, because in my review, I was the opposite. I remember this is what I put. The big question is whether non-metal listeners could get on board with it. Probably not. The vocals are extreme. The tempos often bludgeon you to the point where you feel like somebody threw you into a giant tumble dryer. But it did get me thinking on similar lines. So I guess what I was trying to say is, how important is it to Dawn of Ouroboros as a band to make strides towards attracting listeners outside the niche of extreme metal? Sounds like it isn't important.
It is rewarding to make those strides, and so far we seem to continually being able to do so. But I really make a conscious effort to not have that in my mind when I'm creating the music. I try to turn all of that off, any outside perspective that I know about, and just create in a bubble like we did with our very first album when we just thought we were just going to be doing like a local band
Yeah.
and just write what comes naturally and not concern ourselves with anything outside any outside perspective and put it out there and they're like, hey, we're putting this out because we believe in it, we really like this music, hopefully other people will like it, and so far for that's seems to be the way that it is or has been going. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's just always kind of let's make what we want and hopefully other people will like it.
So that getting back to that review, I think what I understand now is they were trying to understand your mindset. They were overthinking it, and they've not appreciated that you want to avoid overthinking when you're creating art, don't you?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a conscious battle of ours is to not overthink things and to just let things flow naturally. And, a lot of improv, a lot of just, going off the cuff with these musical creations. So it's like it couldn't be farther from the truth that we're writing for a specific crowd.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I just think I agree. I didn't get that at all. Certainly, um, my favorite album still is Velvet Incandescent. That's why I said to you off camera, Tony. I was a bit trepidatious, wasn't I, about this album because the standard is so high.
yeah,
Yeah, how are they going to follow this? I'll give you an example, a bit like, when the Smashing Pumpkins released Siamese Dream in 1993, that is, to me, still the best rock album of all time. And the one after it, the pressure must have been so great, but they released Melancholy Infinite Sadness, which is a classic record. But can we talk about your vocals on this album then, Chelsea?
Yeah, absolutely.
We've got to start with this song, Slipping Burgundy, which it stands out, and I like the video for it as well.
Thank
And
you.
when I was listening to it, I described it as a fragile cabaret voice ties a forget-me-not around your neck as the musicians in the background play a like minimalist form of jazz rock. So what's going through your mind when Tony presents this song to you and says, "Can you do something with this?"
I mean, I think it was kind of like the other way around where I told Tony that I really wanted to do something of this nature. I had had this idea to like really honor David Lynch and like he's just been such a creative muse for me, and I know Tony feels very passionately about him as well, and Ian too. So I was like, why don't we do a song that's like kind of like a song for David Lynch? I think that would be really cool. That's not something that we have done before, and I don't know that it's something we would do again, but it seemed to have worked out really well for us. It all came together beautifully. That jazz intro, I really wanted to capture the whole jazz lounge singer vibe that David has, um, you know, used time and time again in many of his movies and TV show creations, and, kind of do our own form of that. And so having the stand-up bass was critical for the whole imagery and just the sound overall. So that worked out really well. And then as you might have noticed from the video, it's clearly inspired by the Black Lodge from Twin Peaks. David Lynch's most, I think, his most notable work in his lifetime was probably the Twin Peaks creation, just in terms of the grand masses knowing and adoring it. So that was important to me. That was really what captured me into even moving to Washington was coming and hanging out where he filmed some of Twin Peaks and everything. So at the moment I was like, I think I need to move to Washington. So um, like sooner rather than later, I should say. I always kind of wanted to, but then that really set me over the edge. So this song in particular, starting with that jazzy lounge singer intro was very important. At first, I didn't intend for it to be like 2.5 minutes. That was something that just kind of unfolded. And I was very nervous about how that would be received because we're supposed to be black metal, right? And then we're doing this like jazz noir weird intro where people are like, what am I listening to? I don't understand. And then it keeps going and going. But the general consensus we've gotten on reviews and people that have listened is that it's perfect in terms of the length and the intro. So that worked out. And then the overall vibe of the song is just kind of like the romanticism and like the color burgundy being like the color I associate with like romance and like the darkness behind it and everything. So yeah, it's a really important song to me because I feel like it's my song on the album. And I got to do a wider vocal range showcase, I feel like, on that song than I would if we just went straight up black metal, you know? So, yeah.
Yeah, I noticed that. I was thinking the same. It's a good avenue for you to explore more of that vocal range, isn't it? It's an eloquent, beautiful, but there's melancholia to it, isn't there, as well?
Hmm.
Luscious is a word you hear quite a lot, isn't it, with your music? And yeah, it did. And do you know what? Now you've mentioned David Lynch, do you know what comes to mind? Blue Velvet, that Roy
Hmm.
Orbison song. And when
Ooh,
just during the film, when that guy starts singing it, you're right, it's
Yeah.
a similar thing you've captured, isn't it, in the video? Yeah,
It's
yeah,
time and time again, it's like this interesting, like bare, like raw, intimate performance of like a singer really being spotlit in a scene. So,
yeah, yeah. That's interesting. Now you pointed it out, I can already look at it, yeah, in like a different perspective. I mean, let's go back to what you were saying, about the new fans that you've made. On the last album, yeah, famously had this competition where the winner was able to say, "Can you write a song about this subject?"
yeah,
Is there
yeah.
anything similar on this one? Any crazy
Um,
ideas?
yeah, I talked to Tony about that, but we decided to not do that this time around. Not because it didn't turn out well. Cephalopolyp Void actually is a song that we play quite frequently on tour, and the artwork that we had created for it, I think, has been very well received. We put it on the back of our sweatshirt. I've loved that single, and it really is because somebody won and said, "I want Cosmic Core to be the lyrical content theme," and I was like, "You've got it." So, um, yeah, it worked out. But you never know what you're gonna get as a suggestion. That one was a good one. So,
And I need to ask, because I don't know, how is the cat? Is your cat still in good health?
Yes.
yes, yeah, they. I have two, and they're oh my gosh, they're the best cats ever. Their names are Persephone and Poseidon. So Poseidon's hymn's kind of a little bit for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Velvet Moon was for Persephone. Yeah, they're awesome. They're really good cats. They're both Sphinx cats, so naked kitties.
See, that's the thing, isn't it? Because you've got this shoegaze influence. What I've always appreciated about, that unique, I guess we do call it alternative rock, don't we? It's actually synonymous with Britain, isn't it, really, in the early 90s? And it was you did have those abstract textures and the lyrics, the vocals were just blended in with the ethereal nature of the music, and you capture that as well. But do you know, like in terms of your extreme metal vocals, you seem to be getting even. Are you still figuring out that voice? Because it's great. It's like when you listen to Spencer Sotelo of Periphery in the early days, and then each album he's just expanding his range. Was there
Yeah.
anything that you wanted to get on this record in like the harsher vocal range?
I think every album I expand my like vocal horizons. It's like the more you practice, the more you unlock different techniques and certain things that you didn't think to add on albums before. Some of the things were just things I had never done for Dawn of Ouroboros on the album, and some of them were like, oh, I unlocked this new like vocal range tone that I hadn't done before. Cool, I'm going to use that. Um, yeah, I hope to just never stop growing, but who knows? I feel like at some point everybody hits their ceiling. But luckily the last three albums, there's been I think a notable difference in like the expanse of my vocal range from one to another. So hoping to keep growing.
Yeah, same with the guitars, Tony, as well. I can think of at least three songs on this where I'd be terrified of playing them live, because especially when the lights are out, and like, how are you fretting these chords? Have you ever had that feeling? Me like, I need to be
Oh,
in my game to be playing this live.
yeah, and I have a tendency to really use. I love extended chords that have uncomfortable
Yeah.
fingerings, and yeah, so it's like, oh, I could miss one finger, it isn't completely fretted, and then it's like also supposed to be muting another one, and then it's just gonna create a very jarring sound to just miss one of the fingerings on this chord. But so far, yeah, it hasn't happened.
Is it just remind me, are you playing it in drop A? The guitar, seven string, is it you're using?
Oh, yeah, whole step down. So
Oh, okay.
every,
Yeah. Yeah, because that comes through. You don't actually get that many bands associated with black metal going down that route, do you? I can think of that oh, what's that Polish band? They're quite controversial. Batushka. They use eight string guitars, which is unusual, isn't it, in that type of music?
I haven't really. I remember I liked their first album, and then they had that weird.
Oh no, yeah. It's like which one's the real band?
I
Yeah.
haven't. I haven't paid attention since then, really. But yeah,
Yeah.
I would. I guess I could imagine them having some pretty low riffs and stuff. So,
So
but
do you,
yeah, I mean, one of the songs on this album, "Fragile Tranquility," I'm using an H string because why not?
yeah. Are you do you know that band Blindfolded and Led to the Woods? I think we talked about them last time. They're
Yeah,
on your label, aren't they? From New
New
Zealand.
Zealand, New Zealand, yeah.
They've got, I think, hopefully they'll have an album coming out. I see. I think that's another. What I like about Prosthetic, it's so different, the range of bands, but Pupil Slicer, another one. You've got all these great bands and you're amongst it. So, what are the benefits of being on a record label nowadays? I'm guessing they're not really going to be giving you a check for $200,000 and saying, "Oh, go and record in the studio," even as a recoupable.
Uh,
Yeah,
networking and They do, the finance, making the physical albums and the promoting and just access to their promotional network, and just any other, it's like, oh, I don't have a connection in this specific thing. I'm going to send them an email and ask if maybe there's someone they could put us in touch with. That sort of thing. I consider being on a label to be really beneficial still.
Yeah. It's a seal of approval still, isn't it?
Also, having someone, like, hey, I'm willing to invest in what you're doing. I believe in it enough to do that. So yeah, a seal of approval.
Yeah, I mean, as a reviewer, I'm, straight away, if something's coming out on Relapse Records, Prosthetic Records, in this country, we have an exciting scene. We have a label called Church Road Records. I think you might know Sammy now. He's taken on the PR.
Yep.
And that
Oh,
band Employed to Serve, he handles your press now. He came to me. He's like, you need to hear this band. It's like, Sammy, how do you not know of Dawn of Ouroboros? It's like, here's my review from 2023. He's like, oh, you like him? It's like, yeah. So I was shocked that, I don't know, maybe he knew your name. He was blown away by this album. That's what was so funny when he
aw,
came
I
to my
love it.
inbox. Like, there's this band, you've got to check them out. It's like, yeah, I already know them. Here's two interviews that I've done with them. But yeah, but that'll open you up here because that label he runs, Church Road Records, all the best bands now signed to that because he's really in. Him and Justine are really into extreme metal, shoegaze, and like hardcore, aren't they? So two of those three, I knew straight away he was going to like your music.
Yeah, I've talked to him about. I've only talked to him through email, but he asked kind of what my influences were, and I gave him like a history of that, and we talked about Lantlow's Melting Sun album. I know he really likes that one.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So, hopefully you might we see you on this side of the Atlantic? Is there?
We would really, really love to do that. It's it's complicated to make those things work.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's really if we get the right support, like if we could support a band from that area, right, and go over and do that, that would be wonderful. It's just getting the right opportunity to be able to do that. Um, because we could go over and just do a tour on our own, but it just doesn't make as much sense logistically than if we have someone who's like a really strong band in the area or the UK and Europe to kind of help push us up a little bit. So, but we do have quite a bit of a fan base over there. So we're hoping that we can get on a plane soon and go play.
yeah. You're networking just with Church Road Records taking over the Prosthetic PR now, Employed to Serve. So they toured with Gojira, didn't they, on the last album
Oh,
cycle? So
know
you've
that.
got all these contacts, So yeah, I mean, something like that would make sense, wouldn't it? Like a Tesseract or Employed to Serve. If you can get on, then that makes sense to come over, doesn't it? And
Mm.
yeah, I mean, even where I live, I'm on the outskirts of London. You've got Cambridge, we've got nearby towns like Luton, Hertford. They've all got metal scenes. So yeah, if you can get to London, we could make some of these things happen for you to play some of these shows, no doubt. I've no doubt about it. So it'd be great if I think the other option is for you to try and get on one of the big festivals here, isn't it? And then build some time around that.
Yeah, yeah, that would be fantastic. Because that would give us enough steam to get over there and have it be impactful, and like guaranteed impactful. So, yeah, hopefully either a festival or a support offer will come down the pipeline soon.
Have you not applied for that? Are you familiar with that English festival Arctangent? Have
Uh,
you heard of that?
yeah, we're aware of it. So I think we are being applied to that actually.
They'll love you. That I mean, basically, they're obsessed with black metal, post metal, and shoegaze. Dawn of Ouroboros. It's like
Yeah,
here's this album,
Yeah,
and the other
I mean,
one, yeah, it's just like why are you not on the bill? I don't get it.
it's
really,
manifesting.
really, the most we could do is just present ourselves to these sort of things and just kind of hope that
Yeah.
they decide that we fit for that year, or whatever.
Europe's got some good festivals again, which your music really appreciate.
We are
The
very
Netherlands.
aware of that
Yeah.
because
Come on,
Yeah,
you want to get on Roadburn, don't you, in the Netherlands? That's the
that
one.
would be amazing.
That's the holy grail now, isn't it?
Yeah,
Honestly,
total
Roadburn.
dream.
Yeah. Well, excellent. Well, thank you for joining me. It's the second time I've interviewed you for this channel, so you're the first band to be interviewed more than once.
oh cool.
Oh,
So
wow. Wow,
Keep
that's really
bringing it
cool.
back.
Thank you.
it's my mission. I'm going to be spreading the word as well of
Please
God of
do.
Ouroboros.
I love it. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. And yep, I will be at the front when you finally get to come to the United Kingdom, or certainly England. I will definitely be there.
I love it. Yeah, we'll have to grab a drink and hang out.
Yeah, we'll pay for it. If you're the cost of coming over here is not cheap, so don't worry, you won't need to pay for a drink.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us.